The Above and Beyond Salute.
This is Jake.
Is this Jake Ure?
It is.
I was wondering if we could treat you to free lunch.
Sure. Why?
Someone reached out to us and told us how you have run Bear River Mental Health for years. They have watched you spend decades serving people in our community who have mental health issues.
I've been very blessed to be there, and thank you for your recognition and taking care of people that take care of people.
The Above and Beyond Salute on News Talk KVNU, the voice of Northern Utah.
I spent a couple of minutes online to help pay for college.
A quick visit online made getting this federal job possible.
I logged in to ease my path to citizenship.
If you're a man age 18 to 25, go to sss.gov to register with the Selective Service System. It's your civic duty, and it helps secure access to lifelong benefits.
I registered because, hey, it's what you do.
Go to sss.gov and register today. It's the law.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Go! Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the Garden Guide on this beautiful Saturday morning as we're enjoying clear skies. A little cold again this morning, and we're just going to have to get used to that for a few months. I'm Will Feelright, along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, and welcome to the Garden Guide. Phone lines are open to take your calls, questions, comments at 435-753-5868. A lot to talk about, Mark, as Mother Nature is definitely starting to throw frost our way every night.
Yeah, it definitely feels a little colder.
Yeah, most gardens, if you have not, of course, been covering them with frost cloth, you chances are have lost probably most everything, and now it's just a matter of starting to clean everything up. And
I think my tomatoes are still hanging in there, but my squash bit the dust. Yeah, yep. So I think this weekend we'll get in there and harvest all the squash, and I'll see what's salvageable in the tomatoes, and everything else is pretty much gone. So I'd love to get with Environmental here in Logan and have them just drop off a green waste container at my house.
Yeah,
which is the best. It's so convenient, and I can all the corn stalks and all the tomato plants, and if I've got some branches that we need to take out, and we'll just do it all at once and just throw it in the green waste, and then the next day it just disappears
and it's gone.
Yeah, I don't have to make 4 trips to the landfill.
Yeah,
which is it's a little bit cheaper probably to take it to the landfill myself, but by the time I spend half an hour down, half an hour back, half an hour down, half an hour back, it's it's a wash,
Yeah.
It's a wash. So it's been really nice. We've done that for the last 2 years, and it all gets recycled and composted, and it's better than me trying to compost it at my house because I don't have a pile big enough to handle that much stuff. It's it's too much. I can't use it all.
And so oftentimes we've said, well, we want to just keep all of this green waste in our garden.
Yeah.
So we just try to till it up, but then you're dealing with corn stalks next spring.
Yeah.
They just don't decompose that fast.
And I really don't like composting the tomato plants into the garden because they'll carry diseases over from one year to the next. Yeah, and then it puts that right back in the soil. It's okay, don't. Tomato plant's gone. Corn stalks, I could shred those and turn those into a mulch and do that. But again, how many hours of time is that going to take? And, if we send it to the green waste facility, it's 5 minutes and they're done.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of time and cost and how much benefit am I personally going to get out of it compared to how much compost they're going to make out of it. Somebody else is going to be able to take advantage of as well too. So it's it's a little bit of a toss-up.
Great way to clean up the garden. So we can talk about that. We can talk about harvesting those last few plants, squashes, and other things.
Homecoming parade today.
Yes, and a lot going on in downtown Logan today.
Should be a lot of fun. And then coming up in, not next weekend, but the weekend, no, maybe it is next weekend. Yeah, the Cemetery Scramble is next weekend. So it's the 25th of October. So it's Saturday the 25th. And that is businesses downtown on Center Street are doing the Cemetery Scramble. So it's a great activity and a lot of fun. So it's the 25th from 5 to 8 p.m. It's free. It's on Center Street. We encourage people to wear costumes. And there's a whole bunch of activities that you have to, it's not really a scavenger hunt, but if you go and you do all the activities, you know, it's kind of like a cumulative effect. And then at the same time, the city's doing broomsticks and boogie at the plaza. So the Witches Dance is going to be there. There's a little Halloween festival. They've got costumes and crafts, and they'll have food trucks and all kinds of fun stuff. They'll be showing a movie there in the plaza. I think there'll be some music as well, too. And just a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
just a really good time. So this is the 25th of October. So it's next Saturday, and it goes from 5 until 8. And so you got activities and fun things going on in the plaza. And then you got activities and fun things happening on Center Street as well, too. Center Street will not be closed since we've kind of moved some of the activities over to the plaza. Makes a lot of sense. We don't have to interrupt traffic and close Center Street. But there's still some really fun things happening on Center Street and on the Lob Plaza as well, too. So some cool things happening next weekend downtown.
Now, you do have lineups all the way, since you've brought it up, as far as the homecoming parade today. Lineup has already begun.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are traveling along Main Street, it's best to get off on either First West, Second West, First East, Sixth West, because Main Street, particularly from Center Street down to about 300 South, is where everybody's lining up for the parade this morning. Parade starts at 10 o'clock. Will run from Center Street up to 8th. And so exciting. And also, this is one of the last Gardeners Markets.
It is. I was wondering if it was last week or this week. So Gardeners Market's going to be wrapping it up for the season. So get down there and enjoy what they've got to offer.
I think the last one will be next weekend. So
next weekend. Okay.
Have just a couple more Gardeners Markets to be able to enjoy.
Usually don't do it all the way through October. So maybe they've like extended a little bit.
Maybe I'll double check that. But
extended a little bit. So at Anderson's, we've got some mini pumpkins. They're 50 cents each. We've got orange and white, and I think we've got a few multicolored ones left. I've got some 4-inch smaller mums. They're $1 each. We've got corn stalks that are on sale, and I've got some regular sized pumpkins as well too. So we've got some good things happening at Anderson's. Bulbs are all in, so we're selling all our bulbs. Amaryllis bulbs showed up this week. So we've got Amaryllis bulbs showed up actually on time this year. It's a miracle.
Oh, yeah.
It's a miracle.
Such a fun holiday tradition in our house.
What we're doing this year is if you buy a potted Amaryllis bulb, we've got a really cool gift bag that goes with it as well, too. So we've kind of done a little combo because, the bulbs themselves make great gifts, but now you've got this big, really cool-looking holiday gift bag you can, give stuff away with as well, too.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're kind of excited about that. We thought that would be kind of a fun thing. And then we're kind of running out of garlic. I looked yesterday, and I only had 8 varieties compared to the 10 that I had just a little while ago. So we are burning through garlic pretty quick. So if you want to do some garlic in your garden, come get it. If you want to do tulips, daffodils, hyacinths, we're burning through those as well, too. They're disappearing pretty fast. So things are happening at Anderson's. We've got some good things on sale.
Now, we have just a couple more shows, too, of the Garden Guide, as we'll be taking our winter break coming up in November and continuing through the winter months.
Usually the first weekend in November is our last show. So we'll see what happens. I'm actually out of town coming up too, so we'll have to talk after the show and figure out how we're gonna make that work.
Okay. So
we'll make it work.
If you have a question, comment for Mark. This is a great time to get the question in because we have just a few more shows. 753-5868 is the phone number. 753 KVNU. And I know for our family, we were harvesting the last of our tomatoes, squashes, picked our final apples, and cleared up the trees. And noticed I've mentioned this a few times, this year we actually took a little bit of damage to one of our apple trees. It was just so overloaded that even after thinning it,
it still broke branches.
We still broke a few branches. And my wife was saying, well, maybe we ought to just trim this thing back now.
Yeah.
And I said, no, let's wait and let's hold off. We just kind of repaired it.
Yeah.
And then we'll do some heavy trimming in the spring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that usually what you recommend?
You could definitely do a little pruning this fall. So as the trees get dormant and we pick all the apples and the leaves have all dropped off, you could definitely do some pruning this fall before winter sets in to maybe take out some of those big branches. And so as I'm pruning my trees in the spring, I always look at what large pieces need to be removed first so that I don't have to do a whole lot of small pruning and then go back and look at it and go, oh, I probably should have just taken that branch out anyway. So it saves a lot of time. But fall is actually not a terrible or a bad time to do some pruning, and then you can do some more in the spring once you realize how much damage has happened throughout the winter time as well too. So we actually have a lot of homeowners and orchard owners that are out doing some pruning in November and even early December before it gets really, really cold. Because once the sap freezes inside the trees, then it's almost like cutting steel.
Yeah. So better to do it now if you want to do a little bit now.
Yeah.
And then heavy pruning in the spring.
Absolutely not going to hurt the trees if you prune them now.
Okay.
Yeah, so no problem.
And here I was trying to get out of some work.
I know. I was trying to get you out of some work too, but that's kind of how it works.
Well, let's go out to the phones. We have Byron joining us on the line from Paradise. Byron, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Byron.
I have a question. I know you answered it before, but I didn't have no pencil or paper. What do I put on my garden spot that's just emptied? And I need for my garden spot. I want to know what to put on it without cow manure or that.
There we go. So no cow manure. So fall is the best time to add organic matter to your garden, and there's a lot of different options. And so I do straw because my garden is really, really large. And so a thin layer of straw is great because it's high in carbon and it helps loosen and break the soil up. And so that's really a great option. Just don't do too much of it because it makes it really hard to get it incorporated into the garden. So leaves and grass clippings and straw and wood shavings and sawdust and different composts. You can use the compost from the landfill. It's very, very inexpensive. It's mostly carbon, but they've started adding some nitrogen components into it as well too. So the compost that's coming from the landfill is like $10 or $15 a yard. It's really, really inexpensive, but it's got that nitrogen component in it that they haven't had previously, other years. And so their compost is really, really much, much, much better than it used to be. And so what we recommend is 3 or 4 different components. So make sure you use 3 or 4 different things in half-inch to 1-inch quantities, and then incorporate it in the fall. And we usually add some humate, and we'll add some nitrogen as well too, and just work that all into your garden. So variety is the key, Byron. So make sure and do 3 or 4 different items at half an inch of each, up to an inch of each, and then make sure to incorporate it. And then it'll break down over the wintertime, and your garden will be perfect next year, ready to go.
What about nitrogen and humate just alone?
You could do the nitrogen, the humate alone, but it's always good to add some organic matter to your garden because you're going to lose a little bit of soil every year no matter what, to wind and erosion. And every time you harvest some carrots or some potatoes or onions, you're taking a little bit of dirt out of your garden. So we want to add a little bit to it as well. And so there's some great varieties of nitrogen that we've got. I've got some that are kind of carbon based. So like the Pro Peat is really good. And there's some other compost that you can broadcast as well too that are kind of in a pellet form. So there's like a mushroom compost that's great, that's pelletized. That makes it easier to apply it so you don't have to go out there with a pitchfork and spread everything out there. And then just a good source of nitrogen and humate, and away you go.
Oh, okay. That would get me a little better stuff in the ground, right?
For next year. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, well, I've been trying to run you down.
This time of year, we're just running around like crazy, Byron. So
I didn't tell you you have to put chains on you to catch.
Yeah. Perfect. Hey, thanks, Byron.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great weekend.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
And phone lines are open if you have a question or comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, 435-753-5868. But, one of the keys is that no matter what you do, you just want to make sure that you till that
incorporate
compost in.
Yeah.
One of the mistakes that we've made in years past is we'll take a lot of grass clippings and leaves and we'll spread that over the garden, and then we wait too long. Ground freezes.
The weather changes. Yeah.
And then you're stuck, and guess what? By the time spring rolls around, that layer is still
there. Yeah, it's still there. It doesn't decompose if you just let it sit on the top. It just will freeze, and there's no decomposition that happens.
Yeah.
But if you get it incorporated in the fall, then all the microbes and the microorganisms that are in the soil, plus it kind of breaks it up so that there's soil making contact with all the compost. It speeds up that decomposition process through the wintertime, and all of a sudden it's like magic, and it's gone the next spring. So absolutely, no matter how much organic matter you put on the garden in the fall, make sure and incorporate it in. Till that in, or turn it over by hand if your garden's small and you don't have a tiller. That works great. My garden's like 8,000 square feet, so I have to use a tiller.
Yeah. You don't want to be out there with a shovel.
It's just too much. Yeah, it's just too much to turn by hand with a shovel. That's what mechanization is for. So
exactly.
it's really, really nice. But this fall, I'll get a layer of straw out there. I will probably put a little bit of a poultry compost. I went really heavy with the compost last year, and I think my garden got too much in some areas. So I was a little concerned about that this year. And then I'll do leaves, and I'll do some grass clippings and a couple other items. And then I've got that Pro Peat, which is a great fertilizer to incorporate in. It's got some high nitrogen. It's got some carbon. It's got like all kinds of good micronutrients in there as well too. I like to do a little bit of azomite also. Azomite's full of minerals and micros, and so it really helps the veggies taste really, really good. So you get the plants need the minerals and the micros, but it really makes your harvest taste better as well too. So that's kind of critical. Humate, I throw humate over the whole thing, and then we till it all up. Yep, we till it all up. So it does. It makes a huge difference. Every year, if you're adding some organic matter, you're just gradually building your soil back up. And if you don't, then you're gradually decreasing your soil. It just, over time, you'll just lose a lot of soil to erosion and harvesting and all that fun stuff.
And you really start to notice a difference. Because we saw this a number of years ago, we just every year we till the garden in the spring, not really do anything in the fall, and all of a sudden we noticed those corn stalks just weren't getting as tall as they did before. And sure enough, just missing a lot of those nutrients.
Shorter corn, and your plants just don't produce as well, and it just doesn't taste as good as you remember. It's like, God, a couple years ago, my stuff just seemed to taste better.
Yeah.
And so you start to lose some quality, you start to lose some production. And, of course, you start to lose soil. I mean, people don't realize, like, every time you harvest potatoes and carrots and onions and, anything that's been, like, sitting on the soil, there's dirt on it. And you're taking it somewhere else, and you're either washing it in the sink and basically washing it down the toilet.
Yeah.
Or you're putting it on your lawn and rinsing it off out there. And so you're gradually moving soil from one place to the next. And then like I said, between, wind and water and just walking through the garden and taking mud out.
Yeah, getting mud on your shoes.
You're losing some of your soil every single year. And so if you're not consistently adding something back, your garden soil will just gradually get less and less and less. And all you have left is rocks because the rocks don't go. The rocks don't go away.
For some reason, they never leave.
They just seem to stay there unless you rake them all out and get rid of them. And then a new batch comes up.
Yeah, as soon as you till, guess what? More are there.
New batch comes. Yeah, stupid rocks.
753 KVNU is the phone line. 753-5868 if you have a question or a comment for Mark. Now, you were mentioning taking care of your garden, adding a lot of fertilizer, some compost. What about for lawns? Is it time yet to put that last fertilizer application on? Usually we kind of wait till November.
Yeah. Our recommendation is between Halloween and Thanksgiving is like really like the best time to do your winterization for your turf. And that's when we really drop the lawnmower blade close and get it mowed nice and tidy before winter sets in. And, the best time is as close to Thanksgiving or the 1st of December as possible. So it'll sit there and feed your lawn all winter long. So I do have a lot of homeowners that are coming in, getting their winterizer or fertilizer right now, especially where we had all that rain this week. They're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna winterize. It's like we're really close. So it's like if you do it this week, nobody's going to complain. Mother Nature's not going to come and wave her wand over your yard and like zap it with lightning or anything. So I'd say just go for it. But the later in the season you can do it, the better it is for your turf. And I've got some people coming in the store right now and they're like, well, I'm going to mow today and I'm going to be done for the year. It's like, okay, great, but
the reality is
your lawn's going to grow some more, so you're probably going to have to do it again. So good luck with that. But you want to mow it really, really close as late as possible. Get that winterizer, fertilizer, and humate on as late as possible, and then let Mother Nature water it in, and it'll be perfect. How much rain did we get this week?
So we were tallying it up. Altogether for the month of October, so far we have had just over 3 inches of rain. Just this week alone, we had about 1.25 inches.
That is amazing.
Almost 1.5 inches, actually. Once if you incorporate, go back to last Sunday.
Yeah.
And
we had a good storm like Saturday.
Saturday night and into
Saturday
Sunday.
Night.
So
yeah, for sure.
Really, really great. So altogether 3 inches. And
that's amazing.
And when it comes to taking care of your lawn, you got to keep in mind, look at last year. We had people who were jokingly mowing their lawn on Christmas Day. And so, I mean...
in your neighborhood?
Yeah, just to say they had done it.
I'm going to go out and mow the lawn on Christmas,
Yeah, so definitely you probably are going to be able to hold off on putting on that final fertilizer, and you may still be having to mow the lawn once or twice more.
Yeah. I would say plan on it.
Yeah.
Plan on it. Unless we get some snow that's going to come in and we get 6 inches of snow and it doesn't melt off, and then we're kind of done. But that has not happened for recent memory.
Unlikely.
Yeah. I've not heard that. So.
Well, we have Dan who's holding on the line from Cove. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you. Hey, this is a question you've probably answered several times, but I don't know the answer, so you can answer it to me.
Let's do it.
Squash. Your winter squash this time of year after it throws and you're starting to clean it out, how do you know which ones to keep and which ones not to? The ones that aren't mature, but they're big and they look like it?
Right. The squash, if they're getting close to maturity, they will mature a little bit more in storage. But the ones that are like still pretty green, they probably won't. They do better maturing on the vine. And so once you harvest those, you've got like the curing process. So I'm going to gather mine up this weekend. I will cut them off the vines so that there's about 2 to 4 inches of vine left on the stem. So well, not the vine, but like the stems are like 2 to 4 inches long. I'll cut them off the vines, and then I will move them to my warm, dry storage location for right now. So I've got a spot in my barn that's like straw is spread out there, and I'll just lay them down there where they are not touching each other, but they're relatively close, and it's just warm and dry, and the sun doesn't hit them in there. And I'll just leave them there for probably 3 weeks to a month. Depends on how cold it gets outside. If it starts to get cold enough where it could damage my squash, then I'll bring them in. But I'll try and leave them out there for at least a couple weeks, and then they'll kind of cure. They'll get that hard outer skin developed on them to the point where you try and scrape them with your thumbnail and you can't make an indentation on them. That's when they're ready to go into storage. And so then I'll move them from that warm, dry, dark location, and I'll move them to cool and dry and dark. And then they'll keep until about February, sometimes March or April, if I've cured them enough. And we'll eat them all winter. I mean, they're just like amazing, and they just taste so good. And that's how I do mine. And some years I have to harvest them the first part of October, and some years I can harvest them, like now, later October. It just depends on what Mother Nature throws at us. So this year I think I'm bringing them in this week because they're going to start to get damaged if we get really cold weather coming. So
that sounds like the key to it is when you first pick them and put them into storage, not to let them touch.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they can be they can be relatively close, but get that air circulation around them and then put them in that warm, dry, dark location for at least 2 or 3 weeks. If you can leave them longer, that's even better because they'll get that nice, hard skin developed around them. But then, like, my barn starts to get too cold, and I've frozen them in the barn before, even covered, in there. And so once we start getting some really cold temperatures, I will gather those all up. They'll get down in the basement, down the food storage area, and then it's cool and dry and dark, and then they'll keep the longest for you that way.
Perfect. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it.
You are so welcome. Good luck with your harvest, Dan.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Yeah.
And phone lines are open. If you have a question, comment for Mark, we have Kathleen who's holding on the line. We've got a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll get to Kathleen's call, and we can take your calls too. 753-KVNU, 753-5868 for the Garden Guide here on KVNU. We'll feel right with the check of some of our top stories here at the bottom of the hour. And starting off in college football, Utah State keeping their Mountain West positioning and bowl eligibility chances alive Friday night as Utah State beats San Jose State on Merlin Olsen Field.
Egat for the win. Utah State trying to get the stop. Egat has got pressure, has got to step up, throws deep down the middle of the field, and it is up, tipped out, incomplete. Utah State wins this game. Utah State wins it.
That's Scott Gerard with the call as Utah State defeated San Jose State 30-25. The back-and-forth contest featured 5 lead changes, and after the Spartans took a 1-point lead in the fourth quarter, quarterback Bryson Barnes engineered 2 final scoring drives that were capped by junior place kicker Tanner Rinker's 45- and 44-yard field goals to put the Aggies ahead. Utah State now hits the road, taking on New Mexico coming up next week. Meanwhile, an accounting professor has filed a 200-page complaint with the Utah Lieutenant Governor's office alleging that dark money, untraceable political funds, is being used to influence local political races in Utah County. John Burrick, who cited several groups, including the Governor Group PAC, as sources of opaque funding for city candidates in Orem and Lehigh, he showed financial disclosures indicating a transfer of over $100,000 from a Delaware entity to the Utah-based PAC. Now, the governing group PAC, started by former Utah lawmaker Becky Edwards, maintains that it fully complies with Utah's campaign finance laws. Well, we're going to see mostly clear skies the next several days as temperatures gradually warming back up again after that storm brought quite a bit of moisture last week. Now we'll see mostly clear skies for the next several days with no chance of really any moisture. Will Feel-Right, KVNU News.
Good morning, I'm Ken Levicka. The World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers will play for a second straight title. LA won the National League pennant Friday night with a 5-1 victory over Milwaukee. Shohei Ohtani, 10 strikeouts on the mound for the Dodgers and 3 home runs.
1-2 now. McGill fires. Swing and a drive. Center field. That one back on its way. Gone! 3 homers. Shohei Ohtani. What can he do?
What is happening?
5-0 Dodgers.
It is not this easy.
For Shohei Ohtani, it is.
That courtesy of ESPN Radio. The Dodgers will play either the Seattle Mariners or the Toronto Blue Jays. The Mariners a game away from the pennant thanks to an 8th-inning Eugenio Suarez grand slam and a 6-2 win.
They are loaded in a 2-2 game. Nobody out. Next one, that ball driven to right field. It is deep. Lucas is back. That's a grand slam. And the Mariners make a big statement. Well, that is a mood changer here in the Pacific Northwest. The second home run for Suarez, who crosses home and puts the heart signal up to all the fans. A grand slam at the bottom of the 8th, 6-2 Seattle.
That heard on ESPN Radio. Game 6 Sunday night in Toronto. College football, number 2 Miami fell at home to Louisville 24-21. Hurricanes quarterback Carson back through 4 interceptions. Bill Belichick at his North Carolina side, a 21-18 loss at Cal. On the ice, Alex Ovechkin career goal 898. Washington beat Minnesota 5-1.
This Saturday, October 18th, the Cache Valley Media Group has teamed up with Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology to bring you the 2025 USU Homecoming Parade. Come down to Main Street or watch the live stream on Cache Valley Daily. The parade kicks off at 10 a.m. sharp. Stop by our broadcast trailer in front of Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology and get a free donut while they last. Don't miss the 2025 USU Homecoming Parade, October 18th at 10 a.m. Be there or watch it live on CacheValleyDaily.com.
Taking the guesswork out of gardening. It's the Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
You know, even though we're in the 30s, it is a gorgeous morning, so throw an extra coat on as you head up to the homecoming parade, and I think you're going to be just fine as we're going to enjoy sunny skies through the weekend. And yeah, warming back up. We'll get into the high 50s to low 60s this weekend, so not bad.
Not bad at all.
And we really haven't had a real hard freeze, but it's just consistently been down 32, 33, 32, 33. And
yeah.
So that's why, as we were talking earlier, most squash plants, beans, pretty much everything is dead, except those tomatoes. They're pretty hardy.
We're just kind of right there.
Yeah.
We're just right there. So, a light frost is going to be like 29, 32 to 29, and then hard frost is like 28 and below.
Yeah, when you get down into
and 28
low 20s.
below can really do some damage to stuff that we don't want to get damaged. So like squashes, we need to get those harvested if we have a hard frost. Most apples can handle mid-20s, and that's okay. But you start getting colder than that, it'll freeze the apples, and then they won't keep very well.
Yeah.
And so you got to kind of watch for that as well, too. And I've been identifying a lot of apples for people this week. I had somebody bring a gorgeous John Gold in yesterday, and I came in, and it was sitting there on my desk. So somebody else had taken it. I was like, that looks pretty delicious. I might have to sample that one. And so he checked it out. I was like, yep, sure enough, it's a John Gold because it looked like a John Gold. And so the appearance was very, it looked like a John Gold. And I cut it open, and you can smell the delicious portion of it in there. And it's like, okay, it smells like a golden delicious. And then you eat it, and it's like, okay, it's got that sweetness, but it's got the tart in it as well, too. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's a John Gold. So.
And now I'll just eat the rest of it.
I'm just going to eat the rest of it.
You can't throw it away.
Yep. So as I was calling her to let her know what kind of fruit it was, I looked at it, and there's like one slice left. And it's like, thanks for bringing me that sample. It was delicious. Yes. And she's like, well, what kind was it? It was delicious, but it is a John Gold. So.
Great. Well, we have Kathleen who's been holding on the line, and so let's go right back out to the phone lines. Kathleen's in Logan. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Good morning, Mark, and happy fall, and thanks for being there.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah.
Hey, got a quick question. Have a wonderful rose bush that I enjoy and want to make sure I winterize that guy and keep him happy.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend for that?
Okay, so we have let our roses just flower and fade right on the plant. So don't do any more pruning, and we quit fertilizing back in like August. So no more fertilizer, except as we get towards the end of this month, 1st of November, and the leaves are really starting to come off the trees, you can use like leaves to mulch your roses with. I prefer to use a compost, like a bagged compost, because it works as well as the leaves, but it's easier to clean up in the springtime, so it doesn't make as giant of a mess. But before I mulch the roses, I will put down magnesium sulfate, potash, and sulfur. And I use about a 1/4 cup of each and just sprinkle it on the ground, in a 3x3 area around your rose, and then water it lightly, just a little bit of water to kind of get it down into the soil, and then mulch it 10 to 12 inches. And by doing that, the magnesium sulfate, the potash, and the sulfur will make your rose 10 degrees hardier through the wintertime, and will make it bloom more next year. And so it's a really great rose cocktail is what we call it, to really get them ready for next year. But don't prune, because then it will make them go dormant faster. They'll go to sleep quicker if you don't prune them, and let them form rose hips. And then if they're really, really tall, I'll do a little bit of maintenance pruning like in December before the weather turns really, really bad, because then the roses will be completely dormant by then. But if you prune them too early, it can start to encourage some growth, and we definitely don't want that. So rose cocktail down, water them good, then 10 to 12 inches of mulch, and let Mother Nature do her thing. And if I get a lot of snow, I'll take the snow blower and I'll blow that snow on top of the roses, on top of the mulch, and it kind of compresses the mulch down and it gives them even more insulation. So I'll put 2 or 3 feet of snow on top of the roses sometimes to make them hardier through the wintertime, because the snow really insulates as well too.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
One little question. I have been putting a burlap sack over it. Is that bad to do?
No, that works great. Since the roses don't generate their own heat, you and I, we can go outside, we throw a coat on, and it retains our body heat, and so it keeps us warmer, but we generate heat. They don't generate heat, so putting a coat on them doesn't really help them stay warmer, but it will kind of slow down the penetration of the cold, so that it is more gradual instead of instantaneously. And so that's why we're going to mulch them heavy, by the root system and that 10 inches, and then more snow over the top of them. And what it does is when we have those cold snaps in January where all of a sudden we're below zero for a while, it keeps the cold from penetrating in and doing damage to the roses very quickly. It's the rapid changes in temperature that really hurt them. And it's not the consistent cold, because as they get used to the cold, they'll kind of toughen up. But it's those drastic changes that really do a lot of damage. And so by mulching them and covering them and kind of protecting them, it slows that transition temperature down to the point where it's not quick transitions. It's very slow transitions, and it does a lot less damage.
Okay. Well, hey, I really appreciate that.
You're so welcome.
One other really quick question.
Yeah.
Out of my ignorance, I went ahead and I already pruned it slightly.
That's okay.
I was aware that you shouldn't prune a lot in the fall, but I'm hearing now that I shouldn't have pruned at all.
It's okay. It's okay. So I try not to prune too much in the fall, because if you get some winter damage after you've pruned, then it's going to be deeper into the plant. And so if your plant's 3 feet tall and you get 18 inches of damage, you trim that 18 inches off and you still have 18 left. But if you trim them down to 12 and you get, the same percentage of damage, now you have canes that are 2 inches tall instead of the 12. And so we leave them tall just for that reason, and to get them to go to sleep faster. But you should be great. The fall's transitioning nicely. It's not like drastic changes, and so that's really in your favor.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So when should I do the mulch and the bag and all of that?
1st of November.
Okay.
Yeah. 1st of November is like great time to do that.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're
Very
welcome.
helpful.
Have a great weekend, Kathleen.
You too.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
And let's just say back on the phone lines, we've got Janet, who is holding on the line from Franklin. Janet, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I just have a question. I've never had this happen before. I had cantaloupe that grew. It was beautiful, gorgeous. Picked them. Oh, you know how good homegrown cantaloupe is.
Yes.
And it was terrible. It had the weirdest aftertaste, and I didn't know if this. You talked about it earlier, where I have an arch that I'm growing them on, and I'm lazy, and I haven't taken it down.
You are too. You have that same problem.
Lazy gardeners.
Well, I move it. I rotate everything else around, but I don't that because I just keep it in the same
location.
Spot. And
gotcha.
Yeah, it's the first. I do put stuff in. I do amend the soil, but I don't know. Is that why it tasted funny, bitter? Like
Possible.
It was so weird.
Possible. There are different things that we can add to the soil that can affect the flavor of your vegetables. And so certain types of compost sometimes can do it. If you get like too much of a certain type of manure in there, it can definitely affect the flavor. What I've found is that some of the best things you can add to your soil to like enhance the flavor is minerals, micronutrients, and then any type of fertilizer that has like kelp or seaweed in it. It sounds really weird, but kelp and seaweed, they've got some natural things in there. And off the top of my head, I can't remember what they are specifically, but I do know that makes them enhances the flavor. It makes them taste like really, really good. And so I would probably take that area that you've been growing them in and then add some really good compost. Stay away from steer manure because the steer manure can bring some diseases in that will affect your melons. And they're susceptible to verticillium and fusarium, and that's in the steer manure a lot of times. So use a really well composted poultry or a bat guano or something different than the steer manure if you want to add some different composts in there, and then turn that soil over. Some good soil amendment in there would be great. And some people, even if your spot's not too big, potting soil or a raised bed mix and just incorporate that in. But then put some micros and some minerals in there. Azomite is a great source of all those micros and minerals. And you can get it in a small box, like a 4-pound box. You can buy a 40-pound bag, depending on how big of an area you want to do. But it will really, really help. And then there's some really great fertilizers that have like the kelp and all kinds of good natural fertilizers in there that will build your soil up as well too, and that should help a bunch. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I will do that.
Did
be lazy.
Did it taste a little like metallic?
Yes.
Because there's definitely some fertilizers that we've used in the past that will make like my potatoes taste metallic. Like we'll dig them up and we'll eat them and they taste good, but it's like kind of a funny metallic taste to it. So when you get a chance, come in and talk to me in the store. We'll see what you've been putting on there and maybe we can identify what it is. But we've had that metallic flavor come through on some stuff before, and I know it's from the fertilizer that we used because as soon as we stopped using that fertilizer, it didn't have it anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's great. I have one more question.
I'm ready.
I got swayed by the beautiful canna lilies that you had in your store this year.
Yeah.
And so because I normally don't like them because I don't like red.
Yeah.
But I loved the pinks and the salmons and the oranges.
Yeah.
They were gorgeous.
Really pretty.
So I bought a bunch of those. They did great. What do I do now?
Okay.
I've got to get them before they get frozen.
Yep. So cut them down to about cut the tops off so you get about 4 inches of stem left on them, and dig those up. And then with the cannas, they don't need a whole lot of winter protection. We'll just like kind of let them dry just a little bit, and then put them in a cardboard box with like some wood shavings or a little bit of peat moss or something, and then we'll just throw them in the basement where it's cool and dry and just leave them. And then in the spring, probably late March, early April, we'll pull that box out. We'll pull them out, and the wood shavings or the peat moss will kind of pull the excess moisture away from the bulbs, so they should be nice and dry. You might have a few that deteriorate or kind of mold or mildew or something. That's fine, because usually they've multiplied so much that you have like 5 times more than what you planted last year. And then we'll see where the eyes are coming up on them off the bulbs, and then you can cut them into pieces so you've got an eye on each piece, and then you can like replant them and have them go again for the next year.
So like potatoes?
A little bit, but like the potatoes, we don't store them in like wood shavings or anything. So like dig those up, cut the tops off so you've got 4 inches of stem, let them dry for a couple days in a warm, dry location, and then package them in a cardboard box with some wood shavings or peat moss or vermiculite would be really good as well too. Cool, dry spot down the basement. Just leave them until March, end of March, 1st of April, and then get them rolling again.
Okay, and I can just throw them in the ground. I don't have to pot them and then transfer
If you want to start them earlier inside, you could put them in like 2-gallon pots and kind of get them going, but you could just plant them right directly outside and they would do fine. They'll just be a little bit slower to bloom.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling this morning, Janet. Have a good one.
And phone lines are open, 753-5868, if you have a question, comment for Mark. Now, Mark, I just took a caller who was not able to hold on the line with us, but he had a question about how to winterize hibiscus and keep them through the winter.
Yeah. Did you ask if it's like a tropical hibiscus or like a Rose of Sharon hibiscus?
He did not say.
I would say it's probably the tropical hibiscus. So what we do with ours is they're pretty much done blooming now, and we will cut them right down to the ground, and they'll have kind of a harder stem to them, and I'll just take the weed trimmer and just just mow, just kind of trim everything off.
Take them right down to the bottom.
and then we'll mulch them, maybe 3 or 4 inches with just a nice compost mulch of some sort, and that's about it. I'll just blow snow on top of them for the wintertime. They are the slowest plant to come up in the spring, like absolutely the last thing to come out of the ground. It's usually June by the time they start coming up, but that's all we do to them. And you could do the rose cocktail on them, like we talked with Kathleen. You could use the rose cocktail on them. It will make them hardier through the wintertime. It will make them bloom more next year. So put that down, water it in really good, 3 or 4 inches of mulch over the top of them, trim them down to the ground, compost the trimmings, and water them really good so they have some good moisture. I mean, the soil's moist right now because we've had so much rain, but if it goes dry for a couple of weeks, make sure and water them before snow hits so there's some good soil moisture there, and they should winter over just like amazing. Should winter over great.
Excellent. All right, 435-753-5868. That's 753-KVN. You've got about 10 minutes left for one of the final shows, as we were mentioning. We've got this week and next week.
And then we're already into November.
Yeah.
Then I get a 4-month break.
Just keep telling yourself
I'll just keep telling myself that. Yeah.
As we get into winter, it poses all sorts of new challenges to take away from your time.
Mark needs another job.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. One more job.
Now, as we've been talking about winterizing, one of the things that we have loved this year was using mycorrhiza.
Yes.
And treating our new fruit trees with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It has been incredible for our apricot tree and our peach tree.
So yesterday, I got a picture from Dan from Bigfoot, who's our sales rep, but he's one of the principal owners of the company. And he sent me a picture, and the originator of the company of Bigfoot, he's the original researcher that found the correlation between mycorrhiza and plants and that symbiotic relationship. So he's the one that did the research that figured out the connection between the plants and the mycorrhiza. And 20 years ago at their cabin in Oregon, they planted 2 trees, and one tree they treated with the Bigfoot, and one tree they did not.
They did not.
Yeah. And so it's out in nature. They kind of helped get it established, but ever since, for 20 years, they've just grown on their own without any added, water or fertilizer or anything. They just let them grow on their own. He sent me a picture of the trees, and one is double.
Wow.
Like absolutely double the size of the other tree. I mean, we're talking one tree is like 20 feet tall and the other is like 40 feet tall. Yeah, and it's just like green and healthy, and I mean you can absolutely see the difference between the two. And so that is completely because of the mycorrhiza that it got populated with when it was planted. And so it is absolutely amazing to see the difference between the plants that get colonized by the mycorrhiza and the ones that don't.
Yeah.
Like it's like one of the coolest pictures I've ever seen. It's just like, dang.
Well,
20 years. So this is a 20-year experiment, and you can absolutely see the difference. Yeah.
We were sold just in the fact that we've never been able to plant bell peppers. I've mentioned this several times.
And have them produce.
This year, we were giving away bell peppers like zucchini.
Like too many.
They were everywhere, yeah.
I haven't heard anybody complain about somebody dropping peppers in their car at church. But zucchinis, different story.
It made me wonder, though, is it a good idea to possibly, as you're fertilizing, to give it one last final treatment with the mycorrhiza, or are we a little past that?
The mycorrhiza need to come in contact with the root system pretty much like like when the plants are there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's in your vegetable garden, it really won't help to supplement now.
Yeah.
We want to supplement next year when we're planting. So as the seeds are germinating, we're going to colonize them at that point. If you're transplanting a new tomato plant out there, we're going to colonize it at that point, because the mycorrhiza, if they don't have a host through the wintertime, they'll start to die off.
Just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't do any good. So we're going to inoculate those plants basically right when we're planting, and then it will stay with them for the rest of their lives.
Now, what about fruit trees, though?
Yeah.
Would it be a good idea to treat with a...
So trees that have been struggling, like I've got some people come in and they're like, my trees really struggled through the summertime. They're really having a hard time. What can I do to get them, ready for fall? We're having them water them with the Bigfoot or with the Kangaroos, which is in a liquid form. It's a little bit easier for some people to mix up. They are both outstanding, options to really kind of get those plants established for the winter. You introduce the mycorrhiza to the root system of those plants, and it will do its work through the winter time. Okay. Yeah, and next spring we'd say, okay, hit it again first thing next spring, St. Patrick's Day or Easter, somewhere around there, and you will see a huge difference in your plants next year. Yeah. Your plants will just take off. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's just been amazing. We put in a bare root apricot tree, the first of, it's probably, I think we put it in about April.
Yeah.
And it's already put 2 feet on.
That's amazing.
Just incredible.
That's awesome.
All right, well, Tammy's been holding on the line as we go back out to the phone lines with another call here. Tammy, welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you today?
We're doing great.
It's beautiful out there.
Yes, it is.
Nice day. Great day for a parade, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, Mark, I absolutely love growing coneflowers, but I've had a lot of problems with the flowers this year. I've got on Google, and it says that they're like rosette mites. Okay. And I have really struggled trying to conquer that. I was wondering what your suggestion is.
What are the blossoms doing? Describe them to me.
Well, they're just not looking normal. They're looking all tufted up, and a lot of them don't even get petals. The cones are just like deformed.
Sure. Okay. It could be mites. Mites, you will definitely see some webbing and some speckling on the leaves, and they can deform the blossoms. But I would say I haven't seen mites that much on coneflowers, but we do see thrip. And thrip will deform the blossoms, and so they are regularly in roses, and they get into peonies for sure, and they will deform the blossoms so that they don't do their thing. So it could be thrip as well too. Mites are a little bit different to control than thrip are. Thrip we can control with a systemic insecticide fairly easily, but the mites, since they pull the chlorophyll out of the plants, they're not affected by the systemic, so you have to use a contact insecticide for those as well too. So what I would probably recommend is this fall, if you're doing like your dormant spray fungicide combination on like your fruit trees, which is a really good time to start doing that for stone fruits. So stone fruits, we need to spray with the disease control and a horticultural oil right now to control any insects that are going to winter over until next year, but it'll control the diseases as well. So I just spray all my fruit trees in the fall with that dormant combination, and just do your echinacea while you're at it before you cut them down, and hopefully we can get rid of them before next year. So try and do it like a week or two before you cut them down, so we can hopefully control that insect population, and then kind of watch for it next year. Maybe do a little bit of preventative.
And what product did you say to use?
So it's a combination of 2 different products. So we'll use like a disease control type product, fungicide 5, or copper soap would be great. Any disease control. And then I mix a horticultural oil in with it. It's either a mineral oil or a canola oil type spray. It's totally safe to use this time of year. Very effective at controlling mites and thrips and blister mites and things that we're going to winter over for next year, aphids. And if you're doing your fruit trees, you can just do your echinacea at the same time. So that would be good. And then we'll kind of do something similar next year when they first really start coming up, and try and get the insects before they do some damage. And hopefully we can prevent that for you.
Okay. One more question. So with winter coming on and we don't get to listen to you over the winter.
Yes.
How can I go back and listen to the past garden shows?
Yeah, Will can
Great
probably
question.
answer that. Yeah.
Couple ways, and we've put those links available at several locations, but KVNU Talk and then also Anderson Seed and Gardens website. Both of those have listings that refer you back to the original shows so that you can go back and listen to them. So if you go to kvnutalk.com, look for the podcast button that's right at the top of the page, and that'll pull up a drop-down menu. You just select Garden Guide, and you'll have 3.5 years or so of garden shows.
Yes. Yeah. We lost some of those early ones when you guys had like the
very
transition.
early ones.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, they're available at kvnutalk.com. So you can listen to plenty of shows. So Tammy, thank you so much for the call. Really appreciate it. Mark, we've got about 10 seconds left. So quick reminder, we've got the homecoming parade today from 10 to about noon.
Yep.
And stop on by Anderson Seed and Garden and then join us again next week for the final show of the season.
Yep, of the Garden Guide.
Yeah.
And stimulating talk.
America is ours.
KVNU Logan, 610 AM.